Anyways, it appears Sony may have acquired new studio Ballistic Moon. This is from PlayStationLifestyle.net by Zarmina Khan. Well. It looks like new developer Ballistic Moon has joined the PlayStation Studios family. This quote-unquote leak, if we can call it that, comes from a job listing published by none other than Sony itself. The job advert for a senior dialogue designer based in London states that PlayStation is looking for someone to work on a, quote, major AAA project alongside our partners at studios such as Naughty Dog, Santa Monica Studios, Guerrilla Games, Firesprite, Ballistic Moon, London Studios, Housemarque, Media Molecule, Insomniac Games, Sucker Punch Productions, and more. The partners listed here, we've got the receipts if Sony scrubs anything, are all Sony studios with the exception of Ballistic Moon. That it's listed among first-party developers and is the only studio that hasn't officially been declared a first-party developer yet is a little odd. Ballistic Moon staff members have a history of working with Sony. The studio comprises of former Supermassive game leads who have worked on titles like Until Dawn. More recently, a job listing revealed that Ballistic Moon is working on a PS5 single-player narrative-based game codenamed Project Bates.
I don't know about you. That makes me think Psycho video game, perhaps.
Oh, I mean, that would be interesting
because they're from Supermassive. They do horror games. That's their main thing. Narrative.
Yeah, story based. Maybe you're trying to avoid Norman Bates, or maybe you are Norman Bates.
Detective, maybe, because I haven't actually seen the movie Psycho, but I know that there's a detective that comes around and he's like an important character. Maybe it's kind of a mystery that you got to unravel. But then again, that'd kind of be undermined by the fact you probably know who did the murders. So maybe a horror game would be a normal horror game would be more appropriate.
Maybe that would be interesting. I don't know. And of course, we're just reaching for that. Maybe it's something inspired by Psycho and Norman Bates or something, and it's something else entirely. Who knows? But Ballistic Moon, interesting that it was aligned with everybody else. I fully believe that they're just waiting. I think PlayStation is sitting on a bunch of announcements because they're in this legal battle with the Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition thing. So they're just like being quiet on a couple of things to like not distract from that and to not hurt their case for that, because if they come out and say, hey, we've acquired another studio, that's ammo in Microsoft's pocket for going, y'all are fine, you don't need Activision Blizzard. Like, so the back and forth continues, but it's a cute little wink and nod for those who are paying attention to be like, oh, look at that, something new is coming. There was also headlines this week that there's a PlayStation State of Play and a PlayStation Showcase coming this year. Very exciting. The State of Play going to be smaller than the Showcase, but I'm sure there's still going to be plenty of really fun stuff in that. I'm hoping for updates on things like Stellar Blade or
Blight Survival.
Like that.
Blight Survival. That's what I want to see.
Is that's that weird multiplayer like medieval game with the knights and stuff that you like?
Zombies.
All right, yeah, the zombies, yeah.
I don't know.
Did that premiere on any PlayStation stage before?
I've got no clue. I don't think so.
Oh, it just popped in your head. Okay.
I think it was because I saw it again recently, so I was thinking about that. I think it's just a YouTube release, so probably not. But
gotcha.
I can hope.
Gotcha. And then a PlayStation Showcase scheduled later for this year, which is where I imagine we'll get a lot of bigger things, such as like probably a Ghost of Tsushima 2, The Last of Us multiplayer blowout or something. I don't know. We'll see with all that. A bunch of like cool new stuff. I'm more excited for the showcase, of course, because that's where usually the big things go. And it's time for PlayStation to tell us what their big phase 2 of the PS5 is going to be, where we're going to be in this middle area of the console's life cycle. Because with the release of God of War Ragnarok, that's the last game that was announced at the PlayStation 5 reveal event. And so now, what is everybody else doing? Because as far as we know right now, all we know about is Insomniac with Spider-Man and Wolverine. Everyone else is, a question mark. You can make some assumptions that Sucker Punch is just making Ghost of Tsushima 2. Housemarque, what is Housemarque doing?
Crazy.
Naughty Dog, we know they're doing a Last of Us project, but what are they doing other than that? Guerrilla Games just put out Forbidden West, so I don't know if we can even expect anything from them again this generation with the way game dev things are going. But then, you have things like Firesprite, London Studios, where Haven Studios, which isn't listed in this blurb for some reason. What are all they doing? Is it just VR stuff, probably, because your VR space needs some titles.
Interesting to see what they got cooking, because they aren't going to be at E3 this year, so they have to have their own thing to give people something to eat.
Indeed. Good point. Forgot about that.
Oh, really? That they're not there?
Just wasn't thinking about E3 at all. So, yeah, that's a good point.
I do have to go back to the Ballistic Studios. That might give a little bit of people some pause about how well that studio is going to be. Because I decided to just look them up because, you know, what have they done? What have they got on their
They're new,
Google
aren't
search?
they? They haven't done anything yet.
Exactly. Right? But I wanted to see, if there was anything about them. And unfortunately, they do have a review. A 1-star Google review. And I'm going to read that real quick because it's just...
Oh boy, here we go. Here we come with the hot, fresh news, Connor. Bring it to me.
I will. Shout out to the group for poor people with bad computers 5.0. Makes you pause for a second and think, what are they doing?
For poor people?
For poor people.
Oh.
Shout out to the group for poor people with bad computers 5.0.
Okay.
Yeah. Keep that in mind going forward. It might. You never know when it's going to show up in some piece of news about them.
What a waste of space the internet is, man. I fucking hate it here.
Oh, I love it.